All right, I want to try and explain my strat for this at least, and shed some light on some of the basic theory. So first of all, there are two watches that are pretty important, and you could consider the position watch as important too. I forget which one, X or Z. But the fourth number is horizontal speed, and the fifth number is my angle, Link's facing angle. So in order to get certain speeds from the Sidehopping FWESS, there are three factors that come into play. They intersect, and the combination of these three values, it determines the speed, basically, more or less, is my understanding of it. So these are Link's angle when you side up, his position when you side up, and the conveyor value, which is basically like used in determining how the river pushes. I don't know what exactly it does, but it's like it changes when the current of the river pushes you. So that's the third value, and the combination of those three gives slightly different speeds for your FWESS. So what the GIGA FWESS, the fastest one, is 7.5 horizontal speed. That's right now that's 5.5 from just walking. 6.5 is something you can get pretty comfortably with a strat. Like if you line up in more or less the correct way every time, then 6.5 should be not too bad. And then below that, it's like not ideal, but the nice part about this strat is often it doesn't lose time if you're doing categories that need to go to Zelda anyway. Excuse me. So that's the basic theory, and I'll try and talk about like how I set it up. So there's three conveyor values that are basically important, or I don't know if the specific values are that important, but around the same ballpark. You can either not touch the water, so that's a consistent value. It's just whatever you have when you load the scene. That's for rats that come from Lost Woods, like getting the Ocarina. That you never touch the water before doing the FWESS. But if you're coming from river, you have two options. You can roll through the water and basically fully surface and start swimming before you get back onto land. Or you can side hop and mostly clear the water, basically. That was a bad example, but you can like basically clear most of the water and you won't be swimming for long, if at all. That will give you another approximate conveyor value. So people basically have, like, they choose one of those and then they set up their angle and position based on that. Because for each of those, there are certain angle and position combinations that will give you the right speed. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to go over how I do it, which is I roll through the water and like fully surface and stuff before going back onto land. So coming from river, I line up my angle and I'll show my visual cue. Actually, I've done it kind of badly here. So this is about how I line up, and I'll draw a little cue. So you can see that corner of this land here, right here. I line up a little right of it. So you can also use this brown cue in the distance, brown patch of grass over here. Line up basically right in the middle of that brown patch, or slightly right of this corner. Either one, whichever one looks better to you. And I get an angle that starts with A6, basically. That's like pretty good. A6, high A6 to A7. So if I was like a little more right even, that would be good. And from there, I just backwalk until I'll show you the visual cue for when I stop backwalking. So I look at the minimap. There's this black corner at this part of the minimap. And I look for Link's yellow triangle to like pass that, and then I start rolling back through the water. So this is what that looks like. And then I just keep target held, keep the angle, and I swim. And I'll start backwalking in to get up the hill. You can probably just roll all the way. I don't know if it's faster to backwalk. So yeah, I backwalk up, and then at the top of the hill, again, still keeping the angle that I got initially. So I still have that A6 angle. And then from here, I can go a little more right if I want to go flush with the fence, but I don't think it's necessary. I think I'm going to roll and end up at the fence anyway. what I do to get in position is as soon as I get to the top of this slope, like when Link passes the top of this slope, I do a full roll. And that's the position. So you'll notice that, like, if I walk down here, my X and Z positions are kind of changing. I don't know what exactly I look for. At some point I tested it, but at this point I just like do one full roll after Link passes the top of the slope, and that's my position. So if you're consulting the graphs that I think Cadmic made them, they're somewhere, I'll link them. But they show different angle and position combinations for different conveyor values. And you would want to figure out, like, based on your combination of angle and conveyor, what position along the fence will give you the best speed. Alright, so I figured it'd be worthwhile, after I recorded this, I figured it'd be worthwhile to go through the chart and tell you how to read this, how to calculate this, because it's not as complicated as it looks. And going through and looking at these values was how I determined like what setup I was going to use, how I basically settled on like a good position to get, an angle lineup to get for my own personal strat. Basically, you can see at the top here, the best speed is yellow, and then the second best speed is green. So green you can honestly get a lot of the time, but I want to shoot for this yellow, right? And if anything, if I fail, I want to be in the green. So this chart deals with your X coordinate when you're lined up with the fence. So this is my X coordinate right here. And it deals with your angle on the X axis here. So if we read this chart, I'll go through and mark my angle. A6BA is a little more than halfway here. So A6BA, about like that. And then my X position is 3394. So it's like right about here. Draw a line through there. Right there. So you can see that where they intersect, that's the position I get. And there's actually 3 of these graphs. So if you look at the top, this is pushed yaw equals 8400 from the swim across the water in Zora's River. There's 2 other charts, one coming from Lost Woods where you don't touch the water, as I explained earlier, and there's one where you would side hop across the water. So these charts will be slightly different, and there's 3 of them, but I'm using this one because I want to swim across the water. And these, for any angle I have and position I have along the fence, these are the speeds I'll get. So I basically came up with like a lineup, an angle lineup from the start of Zora's River, and a position along the fence, which ended up just working out to be one full roll basically, where I would basically hit this yellow part basically, and a little bit of green. So I actually, in this case, I should have made my angle a little more right in this direction. I should have aimed a little bit more to the right to make sure that I was in this yellow. But that's okay. I actually don't know whether I would get 7.5 or 6.5 here. It's like right on the edge. Right on the edge. So yeah, that's how you can read these charts. That's how I came up with like what is the best position and angle for me to use. And that's how you can calculate what speed you can get. So that's what the graphs mean, and I'll let the rest of the video play. And from here, I just side hop, and you hold slightly outside ESS down, or like down right. I prefer down, but I think it's mostly preference or comfort. So you're going to switch from outside ESS, like half input, back to regular ESS after you hit the water. So in the air, half input. When you hit the water, switch to ESS to start your FWESS, to start the FWESS. And there I got 7.5, a perfect example. Again, 6.5 is good to go for. 7.5 is the GIGA FWESS. 5.5 is normal walking speed, and you want to avoid 4.5. I believe if you have 5.5, you will want to like drop the FWESS around here and start rolling up maybe. Probably a little faster. But yeah, hopefully that helps. Play around with the angle and position. Maybe watch some other people's setups and consult the graphs if you really want to think about your own setup. But hopefully that helps someone maybe learn one strat for this, because there's so many ways to do it.